talked about yet, but he didn't rule it out.
Well, there was a whole different feel in the most populated city in the country. People living in New York have noticed a clear difference since the coronavirus pandemic. Here's Alice Gaynor from our sister station, WCBS.
A day after the decision to postpone the New York City St. Patrick's Day parade, Timothy Cardinal Dolan presided over a sparsely attended mass at St. Patrick's Cathedral.
I come back for some corned beef and cabbage. I got tons of it that I won't be using.
He says though the parade is off for now, there will still be a much smaller, less elaborate mass that day.
But like everybody else, I'm disappointed, but I sure support the decision. It wasn't mine to make.
It is a fairly mild winter day here in New York City, and while there are definitely people out and about, normally we'd expect to see a lot more foot traffic on the sidewalks. In fact, in front of St. Patrick's Cathedral, tourists have Fifth Avenue nearly to themselves, and that's not the only spot.
You expect as a tourist when you go somewhere that there are long queues, but you can, observation decks, you can just walk through it, musea, so there are less tourists.
Then there's mass transit.
We went to the subway and there were hardly any people there.
At Penn Station, we saw a few people with masks on.
Eerie. It was quiet, it was empty, and there were a couple of people coughing and other people were pulling out their hand sanitizer and looking at them like, oh, I don't know.
Up top at Madison Square Garden, where the Big East tournament was taking place. Any hesitation about coming here today?
Not really, no. Be careful, don't be dumb.
Some fans were confused. First, they could go, then last night a restricted attendance policy was announced.
Hoping it wouldn't be canceled.
But halfway through the noon game, the tournament was canceled altogether. Though the approach many are taking through this pandemic is...
Life goes on.
With more and more large events here in New York City and around the country being canceled, life as we know it for tourists and New Yorkers would be quite different for the time being. In Manhattan, Alice Gaynor, CBS 2 News.
Catholic churches in Boston are making changes because of coronavirus. The Archdiocese says it is suspending the distribution of communion on the tongue and will instead give people the Eucharist in their hand. Social gatherings in parishes will be postponed or canceled. The church, though, says that Mass will continue to be held. There are now 108 people who have tested positive for coronavirus in Massachusetts. The state's Department of Public Health says 6 of those have now been confirmed by the CDC. The city of Everett, just outside of Boston, closing school for 30 days beginning tomorrow. This is a long list, and it is only getting longer. In many communities, parents have tested positive for the virus, prompting shutdowns. Arlington, Bedford, Belmont, Burlington, Lexington, Medford, Somerville, Watertown, Wellesley, Winchester, just some of the schools that all plan to close now for 2 weeks. And again, that list will grow. And now, some fears of online overload as college students from across the country head home and get set to take classes online. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of students all logging onto the internet Monday morning. So will it work? Beth Germano takes a look at what's involved in online learning.
For Columbia University student Isabella Collins, her dining room is now her classroom, returning home to Massachusetts this week to finish the semester online.
It's different. It's taking some adjustments, but in all honesty, it's what has to happen.
Classroom discussions are now a click away on an e-learning platform.
So what makes output per capita to be high or low?
For her classmate who came home with her, it's working out equations for macroeconomics online, and it's all taking some adjustment.
My concern is that I will have a lot of distractions and not being able to sort of have the time in class to really focus in class and then the time in the library to really get my homework done.
Online learning certainly isn't new to college students, but as so many have been asked to leave campuses, they say an integral part of their education will be missing.
There's going to be something missing from the in-class discussions because just having contact with people, physically being there with them.
And with so many moving to online learning, tech expert Peter Tran says the internet is being stress tested like never before, and time will tell if it can handle it all.
Are there any e-learning